So if you look just for a moment at some of the cross-education and training collaboration, and the picture here is trying to describe a relatively difficult concept, but to give you a feel particularly for the role of EMTRAIN. And I'll start at the bottom. What you see here is this platform and network supporting all aspects of education training in biomedical science in Europe. So you'll see that we have our colleagues from SafeSciMet, from PharmaTrain, from EU2P, working closely with them and supporting them, but also supporting European education training courses which are provided outside of the current IMI education training. And there are some very good courses and some very good aspects which we also want to make available to people as they make their choices. And the ways of doing that are to look at things like the course catalogue so that people know what's available, some of the tools and processes, whether that's accreditation or other elements, so that we can make that flow easily and make sure that if people want to be able to move, then the systems that we set up support that mobility. We're looking at the knowledge sharing, the various guidelines, and again, particularly in the initial phases, the communication so that there is a single focus for people to come and get the information to help them decide in which direction they actually want to move, either to develop their careers or for particular courses, or how to access one of the courses. So the expected outcomes, you can see here, the pan-European platform, and particularly easier access for anyone within the European Union, and to quality courses. We're looking to link that into the various national governments, to the universities, the professional bodies, to the industry, so that we have a shared understanding and picture, and therefore can all support that platform. And when you think of people moving around Europe, when you think of the different scientific aspects, when you think of the different structures that we have, having support at this level is critical if you want there to be true mobility and flexibility. We're looking at what I've described here as state-of-the-art course catalogue, something which can be tailored to individual needs, which would incorporate IMI criteria of quality so people know that the courses are going to be good courses, and indeed allowing the students to provide feedback so that they can tell us whether or not those courses have met their needs in the same way you'd expect with any modern system. And we're looking at a new breed of drug developers, those who can address the problems that we currently have, those who are actually aware of the translational sciences, those who are able to collaborate in a much different way, and indeed you'll hear a lot of people talking about pre-competitive sharing, open innovation. They're all ways of working differently, and that's what we need, and that's what IMI is going to support. And this aspect of lifelong learning, not just because it's a buzzword and it's interesting, but science changes so quickly, that's necessary. Benefit to patients, we're talking about better educated drug developers, greater mobility and collaboration, increased innovation, and the patients get what they need, which is safer, more effective medicines. So all of these are necessary to be able to deliver that. In terms of the added value of the consortium, just let me tell you a few more words about some of the groups involved, so you'll recognise why we believe this is different from what we've had before. We have the series of the biomedical infrastructures with BBMRI, EATRIS, ECRIN, Instruct-EBI, Infrafrontier, Elexia, and you can see here within the European view how these fit into the biological, medical sciences. They are infrastructures in their own right, and we've harnessed the power so that we can use that expertise and apply it in combination with the 16 FPIA partners representing some of the top companies in the world, so that between us we can actually do what wasn't possible before. And if you think there's something like 150 institutions involved in these networks, you start to get a feel of the power that we have, which can be harnessed particularly to support the education training. What have we done so far? For any project to work effectively, then clearly you need the project management systems, But an important aspect for the whole of this is that these are European open systems. So that everything that we've been doing has actually been using open source systems to demonstrate that you can do it, and it does work, and it's something that can be shared. The pan-European expansion so far initially moved into Hungary, and more recently has moved into include Poland. We have worked with our colleagues and our stakeholders to try and define what was necessary in terms of the catalogue, how to make it work best, and we're just in the process of signing contracts so that that can be up and running in the near future. We've linked into a lot of the experience, particularly in terms of the PhD area, with Orpheus, which is an organisation for PhD education in Europe, Marie Curie, our own partner within EMTRAIN, and within the industry, so that we can support PhDs not so that they learn their science better, but they have a broader view and can apply that in different ways. The communication platform which we have, and I'll show you some examples, include the website, slide sets, pamphlets, and starting to set up this student office as the first port of call for people who require direction information. We have the cross-education and training task forces established with my colleagues so that we can share information and decide where best to collaborate and where individual projects can actually meet their needs separately. There's been a series of opportunities to be able to describe and communicate, including an Orpheus symposium, the Stockholm Clinical Trials meeting, the meeting here today, and the World Pharma meeting in July. And we've had extensive interactions with some of the external experts, whether that's from Bologna, national ministries, health education, professional bodies, to build up this picture that I'm showing you today. I'll just show you some quick examples so you can see that things exist. This is the project management tool, which is being used extensively, allows all our partners to share and communicate, and indeed also allows us to work across some of the education training projects. This is an example, it's only a mock-up of what might be possible in terms of not just accessing a course catalogue, but managing that so that an individual can not only register, they can manage their studies, they can have personalised searches, and that it allows them to look more broadly in terms of their careers, accessing a database that says which are the best providers of some of those elements. Here's the pan-European expansion. This map shows you where the biomedical infrastructures are currently involved and where there are links to national ministries, to educations, to universities and liaisons. That recently we were looking to expand that, particularly with EMTRAIN in Poland, and then we'll look in a progressive way to involve more of those European countries so that we have the infrastructure in place to support education and training. There is a website which allows people to find out about the project and to see what's happening in terms of activities. This is an example of the communication materials, the flyers which we're now using so that people can see what's happening, can think about it, and can prepare for it. And the project itself officially started on the 1st of October. First annual report will be in November this year. Unlike some of the others, this is a 7-year project because the nature of the platform and the infrastructure and the maintenance, this allows us to be able to focus on that over a slightly longer period. I have a list here of the partners, both from the public side and from the private side of the organisation, and those are in the slide, so if you're interested you can see who's involved. For information about IMI, then there's a website. For information about EMTRAIN, then again, either myself or my co-coordinator, Michael Volz, will be only too pleased to help if there are questions, or much of that you'll find on the website. So, I hope that's given you an idea of what happens with EMTRAIN. I hope you can see what's happened so far and what will happen in the future. And I'll stop there to see if there are any questions or comments.